I've been juggling the idea of talking about home security cameras for some time, but I've been avoiding it because I don't subscribe to the same ideas that most home automation folks do. I don't like third-party services, and I think the Ring is overrated. So today I'm going to build my own security camera system with motion-activated recording, notifications, and lighting controls. Welcome to Smarter Circuits. I'm your host, Ian Klein. I'm not knocking owning a Ring or similar device, but my own view on the matter is the same as most of my home automation devices. Why rely on third-party services when you don't really need to? I want to be clear that there can be fire safety and security advantages that are hard to DIY, but most of those can be solved the same way we have for many decades or centuries. Alarms of various kinds, along with crime deterrents like bright lights, solid locks, rose bushes, and dogs. There's another piece to this whole puzzle that I'm going to reveal later about an upgrade designed to save my wife's flowers from hungry varmints, but I'm getting ahead of myself as usual. Suffice it to say, I occasionally build the kinds of things that a coyote might purchase to catch a particularly slippery roadrunner. I have two obvious IP cameras that are good enough to see if someone is arriving or if a thing is happening, but probably not good enough to read a plate or identify a thief. I have two other cameras for that. These are 4K cameras that from my research seem to be another industrial hand-me-down gem. Like the smart switching devices many companies offer that are really just lightweight programmable logic controllers from the industrial world in a cheap trench coat, this camera has a sensor in it primarily used in industrial automation monitoring applications. It is a true 4K sensor, and a pretty big one to boot, and it comes in this handy little housing that I suspect is also borrowed or stolen from its original intended application. It has an interchangeable lens of a thread and size I have no idea. The only reason I know it's interchangeable is that there are other variations available with different lenses, and you can unscrew them. This camera has no automatic focus, but it does have automatic exposure. So if you plan to point it at one thing at a specific focal length and leave it to monitor constantly for a long time, it'll be very happy to oblige. This one was $80, so it's not the cheapest thing you can get to do this kind of thing, but it's what I think is the most bang for the buck in regards to image quality and packaging. I'll put a link in the description if you want to grab one and try it out yourself. It also makes a fantastic little webcam, and if I'm honest, I think they're a really great size for amateur hides if you want to record shy animals. That might be a good project for kids, or any nature lover really. If you'd like me to do a build video making a hide to photograph or video animals, let me know in the comments and I'll make a proper one with a housing made using the laser cutter and some acrylic. I plan to take this camera and this cheap microcomputer and install them here to get a perfect view of people approaching my front door. I technically already have a Raspberry Pi out here that I could use. It's in the address number thingy there, but I want to have separation of concerns. I'll also be controlling the porch lights since my camera does not have infrared capability. I could remove the IR filter from the sensor, but I've never actually tried this on anything that wasn't a $10 webcam, and I don't need to risk it for this area. Once I have a suitable place to mount the camera, I only need to run the rather hefty USB cable provided with it to the microcomputer and set up the software to stream the video to my DVR machine, which we'll take a look at in a bit. I also want to install one of these on my back deck, so I'll need to mount a second camera and run it to another device to stream the video back to the DVR. In this case, I'll use this Jetson I happen to have since it's more than adequate for the job, and I might play around with some more advanced computer vision on it later. The steps to install the video streaming software are the same for both devices since they're running Linux. Just a simple apt install command, and then you can start configuring Motion to stream your video to the main DVR, which will also be running Motion. This is the machine I'll be running as my main DVR, so let me install Motion on all three devices, and then I'll go over configuring the cameras and the DVR itself. After I've run the install command, I edit the Motion configuration file. For all three of the devices, the daemon has to be turned on so it will run as a service. For the camera device's configuration, the video resolution needs to be set as well as the frame rate if you want to change it. I'm using the Video Zero device on both cameras, so I don't need to worry about that, but you can use multiple cameras from this device just as easily as you can with the DVR. You'll see the configuration for that in a moment. I'll also need to turn off the local-only stream access so the DVR can receive the camera feed. On the DVR, I'm going to ignore all the resolution settings, turn off the motion capture because I can set it by camera that way, and uncomment these lines pointing to the individual camera config files. I'm also changing the path to my home folder for convenience. I'll copy one of the default configs using a stream URL and change what I need to for each camera. Then I'll change the settings for the camera and output file names. I'll also add the configuration settings to turn motion capture on or off by camera. Now I'm going to do something tricky. I'm going to use the following Python script to send an MQTT message to my broker whenever movement is detected. I'll use another script for connection loss as well. I can program my system monitoring script to send messages across my Discord server whenever motion is detected or a camera connection is lost. I can also double up on the motion detection with my Shelly motion sensors. The added benefit of this is that there's a light sensor, so if the light level is too low for the camera, I can tell the system to turn the lights on to aid in visibility. You can adjust thresholds for movements and all kinds of other things as well, but this is the most straightforward application. Since I can detect motion through the camera itself and other sensors combined to create a more accurate picture of the location of a moving object, I plan to use these with detection zones and an automatic sprinkler to deter flower nibbling in a future build. In the next video, I'm going to crack open one of these Shelly motion sensors and take a look at what it's made of. If I'm feeling froggy, I might just show you how to make your own version in the follow-up. In the meantime, I do hope you enjoyed the video, and of course if you did enjoy it and haven't already done so, please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to know what's going on between episodes, you can follow Smarter Circuits on Twitter @CircuitsSmarter or on Facebook. And if you'd like to help make more and better videos possible, consider becoming a patron on our Patreon page linked below. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and I do hope you'll join me for future videos as I continue building smarter circuits.